we will all agree that we have just concluded a most successful meeting, which was held over the last 2 days. We addressed a number of matters in a bid to keep the integration process moving. In respect to CSME, the Caribbean Single Market and Economy, we engaged our attention and received an update. And we, the heads, look forward to a comprehensive review which would consider at the intersessional meeting next February. Now, that review is in an effort to take the process forward and not to change any or to revisit any of the actions that we've taken thus far to strengthen the integration process. In the meantime, there will be an intensified public education campaign in member states aimed at all levels of the society. The program will highlight the benefits and provisions of the CSME. The CARICOM Commission on the Economy also reported to us and set out several recommendations aimed at fiscal sustainability, private sector stimulation, improving the business regulatory environment, moving towards sustainable growth and resource mobilization. We are fully committed to implementing all elements of the CSME regime as we remain convinced it is our only option to achieve sustainable growth and development in the Caribbean region. The issue of security also occupied a very big chunk of the time allotted for discussions over the last couple of days. And we were brought up to date on major issues with respect to the region's security and agreed on ways to deepen and strengthen cooperation in this area. We approved a review of the CARICOM Crime and Security Strategy, CCSS, and discussed ways of ensuring that there was coordination between national security plans and the strategy. Impacts continue to play an important role in our effort to address crime and security, and we really appreciate their work in this regard. Significantly, we agreed that urgent steps should be taken for completion of a number of critical regional security agreements. We have placed as a priority on the completion of CARICOM Arrest Warrant Treaty. This is a matter that we've been discussing for some time now, and I believe heads are resolved to having this particular agreement entered into, or treaty rather, entered into before the end of 2016. This, we believe, will enhance the security of our region, and is a matter which heads fully are in support of. With respect to free movement, we had a very spirited engagement on the issue of free movement. And one of the most significant issues was that we have to address the concerns of citizens in taking advantage of the free movement regime which we've approved. And even though the overwhelming majority of citizens are moving through the community without hindrance, we do have instances of denial of entry at our ports. And this is a matter we believe has to be addressed, and addressed urgently, as we are aware of the negative views that surface when these instances occur. We have guidance from the Caribbean Court of Justice, as well as from decisions which conference has taken. We have mandated the CARICOM Secretariat to bring together the Chief Immigration Officers, CARICOM ambassadors, and other relevant officials to fashion a solution to the issue, because we believe that the free movement of people is an integral part of the single market. Health-related issues continue to be of serious concern to us as they affect the development of the region. The level of non-communicable diseases, NCDs, remain a disturbing factor, even as the 10th anniversary of the historic declaration of uniting to fight the non-communicable diseases draws near. Some progress, we must admit, have been made, but it has been uneven, and we agreed to address issues such as banning of smoking in public places, trade-related measures, banning the advertisement of potentially harmful foods, which specifically target children, and elevating taxes on foods high in sugar, salt, and trans fat. Hence, the government endorsed the Every Caribbean Girl, Every Caribbean Woman initiative, intended to address key sexual and reproductive health concerns of girls and women in the Caribbean. The objectives of the ECGECW are to reduce teenage pregnancy, prevent cervical cancer, and eliminate mother-to-child transmission of HIV. In the latter regard, we have to increase our advocacy efforts in order to ensure we maintain the level of support needed to end the AIDS epidemic in the region. But we must all agree, as citizens of the Caribbean community, that we have a personal responsibility, each of us has a personal responsibility to maintain healthy lifestyles. The sheer cost of treating those diseases is becoming prohibitive for governments across the Caribbean. And therefore, we have to be mindful of what we consume and also of the need for daily physical activity. I will now invite His Excellency, the President of Guyana, to draw to our attention other critical matters which we discussed over the last 2 days. Your Excellency.
Thank you, Prime Minister. The 4 areas I intend to address deal largely with the relations between CARICOM and the rest of the world. The international dimension, if you can call it that. In the first instance, I'd like to address my attention to correspondent banking. The conference discussed the latest developments with respect to the loss of correspondent banking arrangements severely affecting member states. It remains a very serious issue, but we must find a solution given its effect on our financial and trading systems in particular. You would recall, ladies and gentlemen of the media, we had the opportunity to meet with the President of Chile, Madame Michelle Bachelet. We had an excellent discussion with Her Excellency when she visited the conference. The community renewed its long-standing political cooperation relations with Chile. Chile has been a supportive country of the community through its institutions and capacity building projects in a wide variety of areas. We agreed to heighten political engagement and that technical cooperation should be expanded to include climate change, the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, and trade cooperation. The third area of CARICOM's relations with the rest of the world was CARICOM-Cuba relationships. While we are pleased at the ongoing normalization of relations between Cuba and the United States, at the same time, we reiterate our call for the lifting of the USA trade and economic embargo against Cuba. In that new environment in Cuba, we recognize the need to seize the trade, business, and investment opportunities, including those in tourism. We agreed that every effort will be made to conclude negotiations for a second protocol to the Trade and Economic Cooperation Agreement to allow for it to be signed before the end of 2016. And finally, of course, the word that has been on everybody's lips for the last fortnight, Brexit. As expected, the implications of Brexit for the community were discussed. Although that situation unfolds daily, we in the Caribbean community are confident that the United Kingdom and the European Union will remain strong and valued partners of the Caribbean community. Thank you.
Of course, we discussed cricket, and we've agreed to create one Prime Ministerial subcommittee on cricket. As you know, there were two before, one on governance issues and one on the larger issues confronting cricket. And so there's a new committee on cricket which will be mandated to examine all matters relating to the development of cricket, which is a very wide area of concentration. We also received reports on the Belize-Guatemala relations, and we have issued a standalone statement on this, and of course the press will receive that statement. And we have also received an update on the Guyana-Venezuela border issues and other matters. And we've also decided to issue a standalone statement to highlight our concerns on these two border issues confronting our member states. Of course, we received an update from the President of Suriname on the issues relating to Suriname, and we have reiterated. Of course, we thank him for the update and the report on matters relating to Suriname. And the heads of government have maintained that we all have to respect the Constitution and the actions of the Assembly in keeping with the Constitution of the Republic of Suriname. This is an internal matter, and we have offered whatever assistance the community can provide to Suriname that Suriname determines in an attempt to resolve in whatever challenges the government and people of Suriname are confronting at this time. But we reiterate our solidarity and respect for the rule of law and for the provisions of the Constitution of Suriname.